Dr. Khazar adjusted their sensory membranes for the third time, convinced their equipment was malfunctioning. The readings couldn't be correct. Humans couldn't possibly be generating both quantum field distortions and metaphysical energy signatures simultaneously. It defied every established principle of galactic civilization. "Would you like to observe the afternoon training session, Doctor?" the facility administrator asked, misinterpreting their agitation as eagerness. "Both the Tech Corps and Mystic Order are conducting exercises today." Khazar's translation implant rendered their clicking response into standard English. That would be acceptable. They'd specifically chosen Earth for their research because it represented a perfect example of a species divided between technological and mystical development paths. Every other race in known space had chosen one or the other. It was a fundamental law of societal evolution. The observation deck overlooked two adjacent training grounds. On the left, Tech Corps members moved through combat scenarios wearing sleek exoskeletons, their neural interfaces creating visible data streams in Khazar's enhanced vision. On the right, practitioners of the Mystic Order flowed through ancient forms, the air shimmering with manipulated chi energy. Khazar began dictating notes. As expected, the human species demonstrates the classic split between. They stopped mid-sentence, sensory membranes flaring in shock. A young Tech Corps soldier had paused in her training to sit cross-legged on the ground, her neural interface still active. The quantum field readings around her began to synchronize with recognizable meditation patterns. On the mystical side, an elderly master was consulting a holographic display that seemed to be measuring and analyzing chi flow patterns. "Is something wrong, Doctor?" the administrator asked, noting their distress. "They're mixing the approaches," Khazar managed to say. "That's not supposed to be possible. The technological path requires a strictly materialistic worldview, while mystical development demands rejection of physical limitations. They're fundamentally incompatible." The administrator shrugged. "Says who?" "Look there. That's Lieutenant Rodriguez. She found that meditation helps her process neural feedback more efficiently. And Master Chen over there has been using quantum mechanics to explain chi manipulation to skeptical students for years." Khazar's notes became increasingly agitated. Human civilization appears to be operating in violation of established development laws. Subjects demonstrate not just tolerance but active integration of opposing paradigms. Previous research assumptions may require significant revision. Their observations were interrupted by a sudden commotion. A training exercise had gone off script, with a Tech Corps drone malfunctioning and breaking containment. Before security could respond, one of the Mystic Order practitioners calmly raised a hand. The drone froze in midair, caught in a visible distortion of chi energy. A Tech Corps member quickly interfaced with it, their neural link creating a cascade of emergency shutdown commands. "Excellent cooperation, everyone," the administrator called out. "Good to see those joint training sessions paying off." Khazar's sensory membranes were now fully extended in disbelief. Joint training sessions. Of course, we found that teams perform better when they understand both approaches. The Tech Corps has been teaching basic neural interface meditation to the Mystic Order, and in return, they've been helping our engineers understand how chi manipulation affects quantum field harmonics. The implications were staggering. Khazar had come to Earth expecting to document a primitive society, unable to fully commit to either path of advancement. Instead, they were watching humans casually ignore what the galaxy's finest minds had declared impossible. "I will need to completely reconceptualize my research parameters," Khazar announced, their academic excitement finally overcoming their shock. "This is not a study of divided development paths. This is..." They paused, searching for the right words, "an examination of human capacity to transcend assumed limitations." The administrator smiled. "Welcome to Earth, Doctor. You might want to calibrate your instruments for some unusual readings. Things tend to get interesting around here." Khazar began composing an urgent update to the Galactic Academy of Sciences. Their prestigious research grant had just transformed into something far more significant: the documentation of a species that refused to accept the impossible as a limitation. Major Ashley Ash Blackwood was upside down in her neural-linked combat suit when Dr. Kazar entered the Tech Core laboratory. She hung suspended from the ceiling, surrounded by holographic diagnostic readouts, muttering about quantum field harmonics. "Is this a bad time?" Kazar's translator clicked uncertainly. "Perfect timing." Ash called down, not bothering to reorient herself. "Gravity helps me think. Plus, the suit's interface gets chatty when blood rushes to my head. We're having a fascinating conversation about particle physics." Kazar's sensory membranes flickered in confusion. "You converse with your equipment?" "Sure, why not? Neural links work better when you treat them like partners instead of tools." "Hold that thought." Ash twisted in midair, making a slight adjustment to her suit's shoulder assembly. "There. Much better. Now it'll stop complaining about the power distribution." The laboratory door slid open again, admitting a man in traditional robes. Master Weizhong moved with deliberate grace, though his eyes sparkled with poorly concealed amusement at the scene before him. "Still hanging around, Major Blackwood?" he asked, earning a groan from Ash. That joke wasn't funny the first 12 times. Way. She disconnected her ceiling tether, executing a perfect flip to land on her feet. "But since you're here, take a look at these quantum harmonic readings. They're awfully similar to what your students generate during high-level chi manipulation." Kazar's note-taking reached frantic speeds. This casual interaction between representatives of supposedly opposing philosophies defied every sociological model in their database. Wei studied the holographic displays, stroking his beard thoughtfully. "Interesting. The wave patterns do resemble our advanced energy work. Perhaps a demonstration would help clarify the similarities." "Now you're talking." Ash's grin was practically predatory. "Dr. Kazar, you might want to stand back. These demonstrations tend to get energetic." The alien researcher quickly retreated to a safe distance, watching as Ash activated her combat systems, while Wei assumed a traditional stance. The air crackled with both technological and mystical energy. "Standard calibration drill," Wei suggested. "Let's make it interesting." Ash's neural interface hummed to life. "First one to disrupt the other's energy pattern wins. Loser buys coffee." "Your Western brew is dishwater," Wei complained, but his hands were already tracing complex patterns in the air. "Traditional tea for the winner." What followed left Kazar's sensors struggling to process the data. Ash's combat suit projected quantum field disruptions that Wei deflected with precise chi manipulation, while his retaliatory energy strikes scattered against her adaptive shielding. Each exchange generated impossible readings as mystical and technological forces interacted in ways that should have torn reality apart. Instead, both humans were laughing. "Your left field projector is misaligned," Wei called out, sliding under a quantum pulse. "And your root chakra is wobbling," Ash countered, her suit automatically compensating for a chi strike. "Getting tired, old man. Must you two do this every time?" The facility administrator's voice came over the intercom, heavy with resignation. "We just finished repairing the damage from last week's calibration." Both practitioners froze mid-motion, looking surprisingly sheepish. The energies they'd been wielding dissipated harmlessly, though Kazar's instruments would need serious recalibration. "Sorry about that." Ash powered down her suit's combat systems, got carried away with the scientific demonstration. "Purely academic purposes," Wei agreed solemnly, though his eyes still twinkled. Kazar's translator struggled to render their agitation into words. "You regularly engage in combat exercises combining these forces, without proper theoretical frameworks, without understanding the fundamental contradictions." "Contradictions?" Ash cocked her head. "Science is just humanity's way of understanding how the universe works. Chi manipulation is part of the universe, so it follows scientific principles. We just haven't mapped them all yet." And technology, Wei added, is simply a tool for extending human capabilities. Why shouldn't it work with abilities we've developed over thousands of years? Khazar's notes now included multiple exclamation points. Human representatives display complete disregard for established theoretical limitations. Practical results appear to take precedence over accepted impossibilities. Further research essential. Previous understanding of universal constants may require revision. The facility administrator's voice returned. If you're done destroying physics for the day, we have a priority alert coming in. You both might want to see this. The emergency briefing room crackled with tension as satellite imagery flashed across the holographic display. A massive vessel had appeared in high orbit, its design unlike anything in Earth's database. Dr. Khazar's sensory membranes contracted in recognition and fear. "No," they whispered, drawing surprised looks from both Ash and Wei. "Not them. Not here." The vessel's next transmission answered the unspoken question. A figure appeared on the main screen, its crystalline carapace gleaming with both technological augmentations and swirling psychic energy. "People of Earth," the Vorkath ambassador's voice resonated on multiple frequencies. "Your planet has been selected for pacification." Ash's neural interface flared with warning signals. "Someone want to explain why our alien researcher looks like they've seen a ghost?" The Vorkath are. Khazar's translator crackled with distortion. "Efficient. They discovered both technological and psychic advancement paths, then optimized them through absolute separation. Their technology is untainted by mysticism. Their psychic abilities are unmarred by scientific constraints. They are perfect." Wei's usual smile had vanished. Perfect is another word for rigid. The Vorkath demonstration of power came without warning. The Antarctica Defense Platform, Earth's most advanced orbital weapons system, registered an attack on multiple frequencies. Quantum-based weapons fire combined with focused psychic assault, overwhelming its defenses in seconds. The explosion lit up the southern hemisphere. 3,000 personnel. Ash whispered, her neural link feeding her the casualty numbers. They didn't even have time to activate emergency protocols. "The Vorkath offer you the privilege of submission," the ambassador continued. "Your species' primitive attempt to pursue both advancement paths simultaneously offends the natural order. You will be separated and properly optimized. Those with technological aptitude will be reformed. Those with mystical potential will be purified. Resistance will result in..." The transmission cut off as Ash slammed her augmented fist into the console. Like hell. Emergency alerts began flooding in from around the globe. The Vorkath ship had launched smaller vessels, each one targeting key military installations. Reports of combined technological and psychic attacks poured in faster than defense forces could respond. Their attacks are perfectly synchronized, we observed, watching the tactical display. But there's no interaction between their different forces. The technology and psychic powers never mix. Khazar's notes became increasingly urgent. Vorkath invasion follows established patterns. Subject civilization demonstrates unprecedented response. Instead of panic, humans appear to be analyzing enemy tactical weaknesses. They were right. Ash and Wei had moved to opposite ends of the tactical display, but their focus was identical. Both were studying the Vorkath attack patterns with professional interest. "Their tech is about 30 years ahead of ours," Ash mused, her neural interface processing combat data. "But those energy signatures, why, they're similar to what we saw in the lab, aren't they?" "Similar, but sterile," Wei agreed. "Pure power without adaptation. They've sacrificed flexibility for efficiency." He turned to Khazar. "You said they separated these abilities to optimize them. What happened to those who tried to use both?" Khazar's membranes fluttered uncomfortably. "They did not survive the optimization process. Because they were forced to choose." Ash's eyes lit up with the kind of inspiration that usually preceded property damage. "But we never chose. We never separated these things in the first place. Why, remember those quantum harmonic patterns? the ones that matched chain manipulation frequencies. Wei was already moving toward the door. "Major, I believe we need another calibration session. A serious one this time. Alert all commands." Ash activated her combat suit's full systems. "Tell every Tech Corps and Mystic Order facility to start comparing notes. We've got 72 hours before the Vorkath finish their orbital deployment. Time to show them why humanity never bothered with optimization." Khazar watched them leave, their notes now including a new observation: human response to overwhelming threat. Immediate focus on impossible solution. Previous studies suggest combined technological/mystical applications should result in catastrophic failure. However, human confidence indicates test parameters may be flawed. In the corridor outside, they could hear Ash's voice. "Hey, why, if we survive this, you're still buying me that coffee?" "Only if you admit tea is superior," came the calm reply, followed by the rising hum of combined quantum and chai energy signatures. Khazar added one final note: research priority update. Surviving human innovation. The first battle against the Vorkath landed force turned San Francisco's Presidio into a war zone. Ash led her Tech Corps squad from the front, their neural-linked combat suits operating at maximum capacity. Across the park, Wei's Mystic Order practitioners had established a defensive line, their chi barriers shimming in the morning fog. Primary targets incoming. Ash's neural interface highlighted multiple signatures, reading both advanced tech and psychic emissions, just like Antarctica. Wei's voice crackled over the tactical channel. "Remember, do not engage them as separate forces. That's what they expect." The Vorkath emerged from their landing craft like living weapons. Their crystalline forms housed cutting-edge technology, while psychic energy writhed around them like living lightning. They moved with machine-like precision, splitting into clearly defined tech and psychic assault groups. Such efficiency, Khazar observed from the command center, their sensory membranes tracking the battle. Such perfect separation of disciplines. Such predictable thinking. Ash muttered, "Strike pattern alpha. Let's show them some human inefficiency." The Tech Corps charge, their quantum-enhanced weapons firing in synchronized bursts. At the same time, Wei's practitioners launched a coordinated chi assault. For a moment, it seemed like the human forces had the upper hand. Then everything went wrong. Ash targeting systems crashed as Vorkath psychic interference scrambled their neural links. "We're getting feedback loops. The AI can't compensate." Her squad stumbled, their advanced suits suddenly more hindrance than help. On the other side, Wei's chi techniques dispersed harmlessly against the enemy's quantum shields. Their technology is perfectly calibrated to disrupt our energy patterns. We cannot penetrate their defenses. The Vorkath counterattack was devastating. Combined tech and psychic assaults drove the human forces back, though their attacks never overlapped or mixed. They were two perfect weapons working in perfect synchronization, but never touching. "Fall back," Ash ordered, her neural link screaming with corrupted data. "Regroup at point beta." As the human forces retreated, something strange happened. Ash's neural interface began picking up irregular patterns, not from the enemy, but from Wei's chi manipulation. The quantum field readings made no sense, showing impossible resonance with mystical energy signatures. In the command center, Khazar's instruments were registering similar anomalies. Fascinating. The human neural technology appears to be inadvertently synchronizing with their chi manipulation frequencies. Ash found Wei in the medical bay after the battle, both of them nursing their wounds and their pride. "Your energy work," she said without preamble. "It was doing something to our neural links. Something that shouldn't be possible." Wei nodded, unsurprised. "And your quantum field generators were affecting our chi patterns." I could feel it. The Vorkath may be more advanced in both areas, but they've lost something by keeping them separate. They're fighting with two arms tied together. Ash's eyes lit up with that dangerous inspiration again, never allowing them to work as one. But we We never built that wall in the first place. She activated her neural link's diagnostic display. Look at these harmonic patterns. They're almost exactly like the frequencies your students generate during deep meditation. What if instead of trying to shield against the interference, we embrace it? Wei finished. Use the neural links to amplify qi manipulation, while using meditation techniques to stabilize the quantum field fluctuations. He paused. The Vorkath would consider it an abomination. The Vorkath just kicked our ass because we tried to fight them on their terms. Ash's grin was fierce. Time to change the rules. In the command center, Khazar was frantically updating their notes. Humans display unprecedented response to defeat, immediate focus on impossible solutions. Standard models suggest combined technological/mystical interface should result in catastrophic system failure. However, preliminary readings indicate, wait, that cannot be correct. Energy patterns show successful quantum/qi synchronization at basic level. Subjects are actually attempting to enhance the effect. The facility administrator watched the humans with growing concern. Should I prep the containment protocols? Negative, Khazar replied, their scientific excitement overriding their caution. I believe we are about to witness either a revolutionary breakthrough or a spectacular catastrophe. For research purposes, both outcomes are equally valuable. From the medical bay came the sound of combined quantum and qi energy, followed by Ash's voice. Oh hell yes, this is going to be then. The underground testing chamber had been reinforced 3 times in the past week. It wasn't enough. Ash sat cross-legged in her combat suit, neural interface active, while Wei guided her through advanced meditation techniques. The air itself seemed to vibrate with possibility. Your quantum field is too rigid, Wei observed. Don't think of it as programming. Imagine it as flowing water, adapting to. The neural link's energy field suddenly pulsed in sync with Ash's qi, creating a feedback loop that melted through the chamber's first layer of shielding. Alarms blared as emergency containment activated. Sorry. Ash called out, powering down her systems. That's the 3rd wall this morning. Dr. Khazar's instruments had given up trying to provide rational readings. Impossible. The energy patterns are plain jazz instead of classical. Ash suggested, rising from her meditation pose. The neural interface keeps trying to impose structure, but when I let it flow with the qi energy instead. Down the hall, another testing chamber housed Wei's advanced students, each wearing prototype quantum resonators designed by the Tech Core. Their qi manipulation techniques, usually invisible to standard sensors, now registered as coherent energy patterns that the technology could analyze and amplify. Remarkable. Khazar noted, watching a young practitioner generate qi fields that interacted seamlessly with quantum probability waves. They are not merely combining the two approaches, they are creating something entirely new. Better living through impossible physics, Ash quipped, adjusting her neural interface's meditation protocols. Hey Wei, watch this. She activated her combat systems, but instead of running standard combat algorithms, she let her consciousness flow through the neural link, the way Wei had taught her. The quantum field generators responded to her qi like eager students, creating patterns that shouldn't have been possible. The reinforced wall didn't just melt this time. It transformed into quantum probability states before resolving back into matter 3 feet to the left. Now that's what I call redecorating, Ash grinned, while facility engineers rushed to prevent structural collapse. Wei was already analyzing the energy readings. The wall didn't just move. It existed in multiple states simultaneously, guided by qi through quantum uncertainty. The Vorkath's rigid separation of disciplines makes this kind of manipulation impossible for them. Khazar's notes had become increasingly excited. Human hybrid techniques defy conventional physics. Subjects demonstrate ability to merge quantum and mystical principles in ways that UPTAT require entirely new branch of scientific theory to explain. Less theorizing, more practicing, Ash called out, resuming her meditation stance. The Vorkath won't wait for peer review. The next test combined a full Tech Core squad with Y's advanced students. Neural-linked soldiers moved in perfect harmony with Chi practitioners, their separate disciplines merging into fluid combat forms that even Y had never seen before. It's like they're speaking the same language now, Y mused, watching quantum fields ripple with Chi energy, technology, and mysticism as different dialects of universal law. Universal law. Ash's neural link highlighted unusual patterns in the combined energy signatures, more like universal suggestions. Look at these readings. We're not just breaking the rules. We're rewriting them. In the observation room, facility engineers were frantically reinforcing the structural supports. Khazar's sensory membranes hadn't stopped vibrating since the tests began. They don't understand what they've done, Khazar whispered to their notes. The Vorkath achieved perfection through separation. Humans have discovered something beyond perfection through synthesis, the implications for galactic civilization. Their observations were interrupted by another containment breach alarm. Through the observation window, they watched Ash's squad demonstrate a new technique that simultaneously existed as programmed combat protocols and flowing Chi forms. Think the Vorkath are ready for this? Ash asked, her neural interface harmonizing with the ambient Chi field. Wei's smile was serene, but his eyes sparkled with anticipation. They believe they achieved enlightenment by separating technology and mysticism. Perhaps it's time for some remedial education. Khazar added a final note. Warning. Human innovation approaching theoretical limits of physics. Recommend immediate update to galactic scientific models. Additional warning. Humans appear unconcerned by physics violations. Suggest rapid revision of species threat assessment. The testing chamber's reinforced walls groaned as humanity's newest impossible breakthrough took shape. Dr. Khazar's laboratory had become a chaos of holographic displays, quantum sensors, and mystical energy detectors. Their latest research paper, tentatively titled Unified Theory of Human Combat Efficacy, was in its 47th draft. The walls were covered in equations that merged quantum mechanics with classical Chi theory. You've missed something fundamental, Ash said, entering the lab while still wearing her meditation-modified combat suit. Your equations treat technology and mysticism as separate forces that were somehow combining. Are they not? Khazar's translator clicked rapidly with scientific excitement. The Vorkath proved that separation leads to optimization. Their technological advancement is precisely 2.3 times faster than unified development paths. Wei followed Ash into the lab, studying the equations with amusement. You're assuming they start as separate things. Show them, Major. Ash activated her neural interface, but instead of running combat protocols, she let her consciousness flow through the system while maintaining a meditative state. Khazar's instruments immediately began registering impossible readings. Fascinating. Khazar's sensory membranes extended fully. Your neural patterns are simultaneously processing digital and Chi energy signatures. But that would mean we never separated them in the first place, Wei finished. Human consciousness naturally operates in both domains. Children learn to code while practicing meditation. Engineers study Chi theory to improve quantum calculations. Khazar frantically adjusted their equations, adding new variables for human cognitive frameworks. But the Vorkath achieved superior results through separation. Their combat efficiency is based on a false assumption, Ash interrupted, her neural interface displaying comparative analysis. Look at these combat logs. Every time they switch between technological and psychic attacks, there's a microsecond delay. Their perfect separation is actually a weakness. Wei nodded, generating a small Chi field that Khazar's quantum sensors somehow registered as computer code. They gained power by sacrificing synthesis, like a boxer who can only punch or kick, never combining the movements. Khazar's notes became increasingly agitated. Human cognitive architecture appears designed for simultaneous processing of multiple reality frameworks. previous models of consciousness insufficient to explain observed phenomena. Vorkath optimization strategy may be fundamentally flawed. Maybe. Ash laughed, her combat suit's quantum field generators harmonizing with her Che output. They spent generations building walls between different aspects of reality. We spent generations finding ways to connect everything. The laboratory sensors suddenly registered a massive energy spike. Through the window, they could see one of Wei's students practicing with a neural-linked tech core veteran. Their combined technique generated effects that Khazar's instruments classified as simultaneously impossible and inevitable. There, Khazar pointed excitedly. The quantum field is being shaped by Chi energy, while technological interfaces are processing mystical feedback. It's as if they're the same thing. We suggested quietly, different expressions of universal principles that we artificially divided into separate categories. Ash's neural interface pinged with a new insight. The Vorkath didn't optimize technology and mysticism. They optimized their limitations. They can only see reality through two separate lenses. We see it whole. Khazar's research notes now included multiple exclamation points. Critical breakthrough in understanding human combat efficiency. Species did not fail to separate technological and mystical development, actively refused separation despite knowing of optimization benefits. Maintained unified worldview despite apparent advantages of specialization. It's not about advantage, Wei corrected, watching the training session outside. It's about truth. The universe doesn't care about our categories and divisions. Reality is reality. And humans are really good at dealing with reality as it is, not as we think it should be. Ash added, her combat suit processing both digital and Chi inputs without distinction. The Vorkath built their civilization on artificial divisions. We built ours on finding connections. Khazar's final notation was interrupted by a facility-wide alert. The Vorkath fleet had completed its orbital deployment. Their ground forces were preparing for full invasion. Theory time's over. Ash activated her full combat systems, now seamlessly integrated with Chi manipulation protocols. Time to show them why humans never bothered with optimization. Wei's serene smile had a predatory edge. Perhaps we should thank them. Their arrival has advanced our understanding by decades. Khazar added one last note before the alarms drowned out all other sound. UPDAT. Human refusal to accept limitations may be greatest technological and mystical advancement in galactic history. Further research required. Assuming we survive. The Vorkath never saw the real threat coming. Their sensors detected the conventional military response. Armies, air forces, orbital defenses, all fighting with admirable but inferior efficiency. Their victory calculation showed a 99.98% probability of success. They missed the small joint strike team infiltrating their primary landing zone. Remember, Ash's voice carried across the tactical network, her neural interface now harmonizing perfectly with her Chi output. They literally cannot comprehend what we're about to do. Their sensors are either technological or psychic, never both. Wei led his practitioners in formation behind her tech core squad, quantum resonators humming in sync with their meditation. They see with divided eyes. Let's show them true vision. Dr. Khazar monitored the operation from the command center, their instruments struggling to track the hybrid energy signatures. Remarkable. The human forces are generating quantum Chi field effects that exist in technological blind spots, while simultaneously masking their presence from psychic detection. The Vorkath's first warning came when their perfectly optimized defenses began to fail in impossible ways. Security systems reported clear corridors that Chi-enhanced quantum tunneling had already bypassed. Psychic sensors detected no anomalies while neural-linked soldiers walked through their supposedly impenetrable barriers. Contact front. Ash called out as the first Vorkath response team rounded the corner. The crystalline warriors were beautiful in their separated perfection, half-wielding advanced energy weapons, half-radiating pure psychic force. The humans struck as one. Ash's squad didn't just fire their weapons, They guided quantum bullets with chi-enhanced probability manipulation. Wei's practitioners didn't simply project energy. They shaped it through neural interfaces to exploit weaknesses in enemy shields. Impossible. The Vorkath commander's transmission rippled with distortion. Your energy patterns defy categorization. You cannot be both. Watch us, Ash grinned, her combat suit's systems flowing like water through meditation-guided combat forms. The quantum field generators responded to her chi as naturally as breathing, creating effects that violated the Vorkath's fundamental understanding of reality. Wei's voice was calm as his students demonstrated techniques that merged ancient wisdom with bleeding-edge technology. Your perfect separation has become your perfect prison. In the command center, Kizar's notes reached unprecedented levels of excitement. Human hybrid combat techniques operating outside established physical laws. Vorkath forces unable to adapt to unified warfare approach. Their optimization strategy proving catastrophically vulnerable to synthetic attacks. The Vorkath tried to adapt, switching rapidly between technological and psychic defenses. But in the microseconds between transitions, the humans struck with combined forces that existed in both domains simultaneously. It was like trying to block a river with alternating walls of stone and air. The water simply flowed through both. Their entire combat doctrine is based on perfect separation, Ash observed, her neural link processing battlefield data through meditation-enhanced awareness. They literally cannot understand an attack that isn't either technological or mystical, and what they can't understand, they cannot defend against. Wei finished, directing a chi burst through quantum probability fields that turned a Vorkath battlesuit into abstract art. The crystalline warriors began to retreat, their perfect formations breaking down as they encountered something beyond their optimization protocols. Their tactical networks flooded with contradictory data as human forces appeared to exist in impossible states, simultaneously technological and mystical, digital and spiritual, defined and indefinable. Let them run, Ash commanded, her squad maintaining precise pressure on the enemy's withdrawal. They need to report this to their fleet. Wei nodded, understanding immediately. The more they try to analyze our techniques through their separated disciplines, the less they'll understand what they're actually facing, Ash finished, her neural interface harmonizing with the ambient chi field. Sometimes the best way to confuse an enemy is to tell them the exact truth. Kizar's final battle notes captured the moment perfectly. Vorkath tactical retreat marks unprecedented victory for unified combat doctrine. Human forces demonstrate superior adaptation through synthesis rather than optimization. UPDAT. Traditional models of technological and mystical advancement require complete revision. Warning: human capacity for innovation may be significantly underestimated by Galactic community. As the Vorkath fell back in disarray, Ash turned to Wei with a grin. Think they'll accept their combat efficiency rating needs updating? I believe, Wei replied with serene satisfaction. They are about to receive an advanced lesson in human mathematics. The Vorkath fleet's retreat was visible from Earth's surface, their crystalline ships leaving trails of confused sensor readings in their wake. In the primary command center, Dr. Kizar was attempting to explain the implications to a panel of galactic observers who had arrived to document humanity's expected submission. As you can see, Kizar's translator struggled with their excitement. Human combat efficiency ratings require complete recalculation. Their refusal to separate technological and mystical development paths has resulted in a previously undocumented advancement vector. Impossible. The senior observer's crystalline form vibrated with disapproval. The Vorkath optimization protocols are perfect. These readings must be flawed. Oh, they're flawed all right. Ash walked in, still wearing her meditation-modified combat suit. They're trying to measure unified phenomena with separated instruments, kind of like trying to understand an ocean by studying either waves or water, but never both at once. Wei followed, accompanied by a group of Tech Corps engineers wearing traditional meditation robes, while his students carried quantum analysis tablets. Perhaps a demonstration would help clarify. Khazar's sensory membranes fluttered in warning. I should mention that their previous demonstrations have resulted in 17 containment breaches and 1 temporarily inverted gravity well. Don't worry, Ash grinned, her neural interface already harmonizing with the ambient chi field. We've gotten much better at control. Usually. The demonstration that followed caused 3 of the Galactic observers to shut down their sensor arrays in self-defense. Ash's squad moved through combat forms that existed simultaneously as programmed algorithms and flowing chi techniques, while Wei's practitioners channeled mystical energy through quantum probability fields. Note the perfect synthesis, Khazar commented excitedly. They are not switching between approaches or combining separate forces. Their technological and mystical expressions are unified at a fundamental level. That's what the Vorkath couldn't understand, Wei explained, watching his students guide neural interfaces through meditation. They sought perfection through separation, but perfection itself is an artificial limitation. Sometimes the best way to optimize something is to stop trying to optimize it. Ash added, her combat suit processing both digital and chi inputs as naturally as breathing. Humanity never built walls between different aspects of reality, so we never had to tear them down. The senior observer's final report was riddled with uncertainty. Human development path defies established models. Their combat efficiency appears to operate on principles that contradict known laws of reality. Recommendation: immediate revision of galactic civilization advancement metrics. In the weeks that followed, Earth became an unlikely center of galactic scientific revolution. The first graduating class of the new Combined Advanced Combat Academy featured quantum physicists discussing chi theory, while mystical practitioners debugged neural interfaces. The Vorkath did us a favor, Ash mused, watching young recruits learn to meditate with active neural links. We always knew technology and mysticism were connected, but they forced us to prove it. Indeed, Wei agreed, reviewing quantum probability calculations that looked suspiciously like ancient chi diagrams. Though I believe they are still struggling to understand exactly how they lost. Khazar's final research paper became the most controversial publication in galactic academic history. Unified Theory of Human Combat Evolution. Why optimization through separation creates exploitable weaknesses in advanced civilizations. Your paper suggests that human inefficiency is actually a superior form of adaptation, the senior observer noted during the peer review. This contradicts every established principle of developmental theory. Exactly. Khazar's excitement overrode their translator's capacity. They proved that artificial divisions between technological and mystical advancement are themselves limitations. Their supposed primitive resistance to optimization has produced capabilities that our separated disciplines cannot explain. In the training grounds outside, Ash's neural interface pinged with an alert. Hey Wei, remember that bet about coffee versus tea? I remember you still haven't admitted tea's superiority, he replied, watching their students practice impossible techniques with casual ease. Race you to the quantum meditation chamber. Winner chooses the beverage. Your competitive nature remains unoptimized. Major Blackwood. Damn right it does. That's what makes it fun. Khazar added one final note to their galactic civilization report. Warning. Human capacity for innovation appears unlimited precisely because they refuse to acknowledge theoretical limits. Recommendation: significant revision of species classification. Additional warning: they appear to be enjoying themselves. Implications for future development: incalculable. The quantum meditation chamber sensors registered another impossible breakthrough, accompanied by laughter.